on the bridge at the time of the collapse. You can see from the live pictures that are going in and out now as bad weather is moving in. Smoke still rising from the area below the bridge. A semi-trailer truck still on fire. Reports say that many cars plunged into the water. Some survivors being carried up the riverbank, others still in the river, divers in the water. Every hospital dedicating its resources to this. As we go into the next hour, I'm joined by my colleague, Wolf Blitzer. I guess, Wolf, the most chilling thing out of this is to think about the fate of these children who were trapped in the bus that our live picture was showing us.
All right, I'm Wolf Blitzer. I'm sitting in for Larry King. This is a special edition of Larry King Live. We're going to continue our breaking news coverage of this horrendous tragedy that has unfolded in the city of Minneapolis in Minnesota. These are pictures that you're seeing, earlier pictures of what occurred. A bridge, a four-lane state highway across the Mississippi River in central Minneapolis, simply collapsed about 2 hours ago, almost exactly 2 hours ago, during rush hour in Minneapolis, plunging cars and trucks into the Mississippi River, which goes through this city. The bridge carrying perhaps as many as 200,000 cars a day was built some 40 years ago, back in 1967, 500 feet long. It's a steel arch bridge, and for some unexplained reason, it simply went down, causing this devastation. Mark LaCroix took these pictures for us. He's an reporter. He's joining us now on the phone. He lives in an apartment building right overlooking this bridge. Mark, first of all, tell our viewers what you can see right now from outside your window.
Well, the scene has quieted down quite a bit since the incident, since I took those photos, since the news footage that you're showing your viewers. There are still a number of cars on the road. They have since been evacuated. I have not left my apartment, so I can't give you any further information as to really what's happening on the scene, but I hope and I assume that everybody has been cleared from that area. They're still trying to douse that car that caught on fire that was mentioned earlier. But there's still fire trucks on the scene, still police on the scene, of course, ambulances as well, although there are fewer ambulances than there were than maybe, say, an hour ago, which I can only take as a good sign.
What we're also seeing are victims who are being rescued, those who managed to get out of their cars and off this bridge. You can see these pictures courtesy our affiliate in Minneapolis, KARE. They're working overtime out there right now to bring us these pictures, to give us the latest information on what's going on. Mark, stand by. Another eyewitness to what occurred is Joe Costello. He's joining us on the phone. Where were you, Joe, when you saw and heard these devastating sounds?
I was beginning my nightly walk after work. There's a pedestrian bridge about a quarter-mile west of that bridge called the Stone Arch Bridge, which is pedestrian only. And I was crossing that when there's no loud explosion or anything. From the south end, I saw a light-colored, like a sand-colored area of smoke shoot straight up in the air really fast, probably at least 100 to 200 feet up in the air. And the bridge collapsed south to north in about a 3 sections. So it went south, center, and then the north end.
About how far away from the bridge were you when all this happened? I
was about a quarter mile. The Stone Arch is about a quarter mile from that.
And so you first heard the sound, and then you saw this devastation. What was it like? Describe what you saw from your vantage point.
There's a few of us on the bridge. It wasn't very crowded, and it was extremely quiet. There was a very eerie silence right after. And at first, my initial reaction was no big deal because it took literally 5 to 10 minutes before I heard any sort of sirens or commotion. It was very quiet. There's no movement on the other bridge behind it. And because of this construction going on, we were a little bit confused as if there may have been demolition. Obviously, that was not the case. But there was some confusion. There's several bridges in that area. And so there was just a slight confusion in terms of which bridge it was that went down. And it was only when I got closer that I noticed that it was obviously both north and southbound lanes at 35W.
Did you see people stranded in the water, cars that had plunged into the water?
I was on the north end, and there's a section that's buckled there that blocked the view of the water from the north end. So I could not see into the water. I could see people that were on that north end who had been in climbing out through their sunroofs. And there's a couple of crumpled cars that policemen walked by and looked into the window and just kept walking. So either the person was deceased. And I did speak to a policeman walking across the bridge about 15 minutes ago. He himself had been down there and said he saw 7 dead bodies himself inside cars.
Joe, where are you right now?
I am on the northwest side, near the apartment complex and the rail cars.
And what do you see? Set the scene for us on your own eyewitness account.
Right now, as you can imagine, there's thousands of people who have come down here. We are just finally now being pushed back from the scene even further. Initially, I was able to get right next to the freeway, and then firemen who first came there told us there's power lines down as well. But just now, we are getting pushed back from that area. I'm behind a line of about 6 ambulances that are just standing idle, just waiting to be called.
And do you see rescue operations underway in the Mississippi River?
I don't. From where they pushed the whole scene. I tried the south end as well, and they've pushed everybody back from there. But there's a storm moving in with thunder and lightning in the area.
It looks the weather forecast suggests a lot of rain is about to fall in this area.
It's starting to fall on me right now.
It is, and that's going to obviously complicate any rescue operations that may still be underway. This all occurred almost
and there is lightning in the area as well.
It happened almost exactly 2 hours ago. During the end of Minneapolis's rush hour, all of a sudden, this bridge over the Mississippi River simply collapsed, and there's been no explanation. We are told, Joe, and Joe Costello is joining us on the phone, as is Mark LaCroix. And Mark, I'm going to get back to you in a moment. Mark took some amazing iReport pictures for us. Joe, we're told there had been some serious construction going on this bridge for some time. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, there's been construction not only on the bridge, but on the stretch of 35W north of that as well, for about a mile north of there as well. And over the past month or so, they've actually had the entire 35W shut down over the weekends, for a couple of the weekends in the past month and a half. So it was not just the bridge, and the sections that I had traveled over, it seems like they were just doing surfacing work, nothing underneath to the actual structure of the bridge.
I'm going to ask Joe Costello, an eyewitness to what has happened, to stand by. Mark, give me a thought right now, because I want to put up some of the images, some of the pictures you sent to CNN.com through iReport, because here they are. These are pictures, Mark, that you took from your apartment window. Is that right?
That's right.
And as you saw this, what was going through your mind?
Well, I didn't quite believe it at first. I didn't see the bridge fall. I saw the last moments of it. So when I finally looked out the window, wondering what this crazy noise was, it did take quite a while for me to register, what had happened. And as I sort of examined it, I took pictures because none of the news stations, the local news stations, CNN hadn't picked it up yet. So I wanted to, make sure something happened, because I had tried dialing 911 and the number was busy, which I can only assume meant I wasn't the first person to call. But I didn't believe it. And even when I took those pictures, knowing that it was a tragedy, I didn't believe it. And I can still hardly believe it right now.
Stand by for a moment, Mark. Mark has taken these pictures for us. Now we're going back to our affiliates to get these pictures. This is from WCCO in Minneapolis. You can see these automobiles clinging to the wreckage of this bridge that simply collapsed. Two people who really know a lot about Minneapolis are the two U.S. senators from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar and Norm Coleman, who are both standing by. They're both here in Washington. Norm Coleman, let me start with you. You're familiar with this bridge. How important is this bridge to the city of Minneapolis?
Oh, it's important because it's a link. 35W is a major freeway. I was just in conversation with the Secretary of Transportation. Senator Klobuchar and I will be traveling early tomorrow morning with the Secretary of Transportation. Obviously, Wolf, the emergency response is the first priority, and our hearts and prayers go out to all all those have been impacted. We do have to do a couple of other things right away. One is to set up a transportation system. The Secretary will be on the scene personally overseeing that piece. And then we've got to do a full forensic analysis. We have to figure out why this happened, how it happened. This bridge was inspected 3 years ago. The construction work that was being done, it was surface work. I talked to the governor a little while ago. And so we have to figure out why. Again, first is emergency response. We will deal with that, but then there are other issues that have to be dealt with quickly.
What about the cause, the potential cause? Are they suggesting, are they ruling out certain things, for example, like terrorism?
Well, the Secretary Chertoff has issued a statement saying that they have no indication at all that there was terrorism. So that's what we get from Homeland Security.
Well, this bridge is actually about a mile from my house, and it is. There's been construction in the area. Of course, we have no idea what actually caused this, but exits have been closed off. There's been a lot of construction, and this happened at the busiest time, at rush hour. There's often cars on that bridge. It's right in the center of downtown, as you can see, right near the University of Minnesota, Minneapolis, going over the beautiful Mississippi River, and this is just truly a tragedy as you see that school bus just hanging on the edge of the road.
And Senator Klobuchar, this bridge, correct me if I'm wrong, only serviced automobiles and trucks. There were no trains that used this bridge. Is that right?
As far as I know, and again, we're just getting the news, and all of the cell phones have been using. We're asking people not to use 612-651 if they can. But as far as we know, that piece of the bridge, it's cars, automobiles. There is no kind of a subway system or any type of a train going on that part of the bridge.
Norm Coleman, as you look at this, because, you know, I've covered a lot of stories. This is pretty horrendous. A bridge that services about 200,000 vehicles a day going down like this, a 40-year-old bridge. You say it was examined, inspected 3 years ago, and I assume it was given a clean bill of health, although by all accounts, there's been a lot of construction going on recently.
Yeah, but Wolf, we do construction in Minnesota in the summertime. This was surface construction. We do that all the time in Minnesota. That would not be unusual. I understand from my conversation with the governor that this bridge was inspected 3 years ago. It was given a clean bill of health. Obviously, we will do this full forensic analysis. This is what the Secretary of Transportation has talked about, and get to the root. This is incomprehensible, Wolf. This is absolutely incomprehensible. And both Senator Klobuchar and I, you know, we're sitting beforehand trying to sort this out. We will find out. It may take us a while, but the construction work was surface construction. The bridge got a clean bill of health 3 years ago, and obviously something terribly wrong happened.
And I also note that it's right near a number of hospitals. Hennepin County Medical Center, law enforcement has planned for these kinds of emergencies, but no one could ever think a bridge of this magnitude, lanes and lanes of traffic, would just suddenly go down on a August day in the middle of the summer.
Senator Klobuchar, Senator Coleman, I'm going to ask both of you to stand by because Nancy Ebert is joining us on the phone right now. She's the director over at the Abbott Northwest Hospital in Minneapolis, who can give us an update on casualties, people coming in with injuries. What can you tell us?
Abbott Northwestern has seen 4 patients right now. We have 2 children and 2 adults. We have a girl who's in fair condition, a boy who is in good condition, and 2 adult women who are in fair condition. We're in the process of transferring the 2 children to Children's Hospitals and Clinics, which sits right next to Abbott Northwestern.
Do you know, Ms. Ebert, if these individuals, these 4 people, 2 children, 2 adult women, were rescued from on top of the bridge, or were they rescued from the Mississippi River?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I only know that they're in our emergency department.
And are there other hospitals in the area that are receiving injured people as well?
Yes, there are. Hennepin County Medical Center, which is just down the street from us, has received a number of them, I know.
Do you know how many?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
So these would be the only 2 hospitals, or are there yet others that are servicing this crisis?
There are quite a few hospitals in the Twin Cities. I couldn't speculate as to whether the other hospitals are receiving them. Given the size of the number of people they guess that are on the bridge, I wouldn't be surprised if other hospitals were also receiving them.
All right, I want to just thank you very much, Nancy Ebert. We'll stay in touch with you. I also want to welcome our international viewers who are joining our breaking news coverage on CNN International. The situation clearly remains in a crisis mode in Minneapolis. It's a major city, obviously. Senators Klobuchar and Coleman, the 2 U.S. senators, from Minnesota are watching all of this with us as well. I want to go to our affiliate coverage for a moment because we're getting an update. Let me listen in, and all of us will listen in to our affiliate KARE.
Drowning.
And there may be more at the scene. I don't have information on the scene.
Age, gender of the victim?
I don't have that either, I'm sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it works when patients are brought here? I mean, there's quite an
We have a very well-developed disaster response team, which we have drills on periodically through the year, but basically we set up a triage center and then we sort. We have a physician and nurse team at that center. We call in personnel from the hospital of all types, people to transport patients, nurses, doctors, administrative people to help with the logistics, security to help with security type issues and locking down the perimeter. And then we sort patients into those who are critically ill, those who are not critically ill but ill and have injuries requiring intervention urgently, and those who are what we call the walking wounded, those with minor injuries.
Have you been told what to expect? Have you been told what to expect the rest of the night?
The question is, have I been told what to expect for the rest of the night? And no, we don't know what to expect, except that typically in a disaster situation like this, there will be patients who find their own transportation to the hospital. They may go to any hospitals, as any of you might. If you were at a situation like this and you could get out of there, you'd find your own way. So we expect patients to be trickling in, but those typically would fall in the walking wounded category.
But the 6 who are critically injured, are they children, are they adults, the 6 who are critically injured?
We have, the ones that came here were largely adults. I'm told that there were 6 children that went to north side hospitals from the north side of the bridge.
Doctor, could you describe the scene? This is like chaotic, somewhere in between?
In the hospital?
Yeah.
The scene in the hospital is very well controlled. We have a command center on the 2nd story of the hospital with good communication with the emergency department. We have physician leaders in each of the 3 areas of the emergency department. Nursing tasks have all been assigned in advance for this type of situation, so we keep track of patients very carefully and resources very carefully. We have a personnel pool on the 2nd floor so that they don't all congregate in the emergency department, and communication back and forth so that we get the help that we need.
Have you notified the family of the person who died? Are they aware that person?
I don't have that information. We have a family center set up.
Based on what you've seen in terms of the damage, at this point, after what happened, did you expect it to be more crowded at the hospital, or is this what you expected?
I think this is it's unknown what would happen how many people were on the bridge or how bad the falls were, so we had no idea how many patients we would get.
And how about drowning victims or people in the water? You've been told to prepare for any of that kind of stuff?
Well, we had 1 drowning victim here, and I believe there are more drowning victims at the scene who...
Doctor, have you ever seen anything like this before?
I've never been in a bridge collapse before. We have one of our faculty was at Kansas City at the high collapse and says that this is very similar to what happened there.
Do you know at any point in the night, whether it gets to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, do you expect people to just keep coming in through the night, or do you reach a point where you realize that probably slowing in the activity?
I think we'll reach a point, and we're probably rapidly reaching a point where we've seen the most seriously ill patients.
And the person who died, that person died here? They arrived dead?
I don't have a lot of detail on that because I wasn't involved in the care of that patient, but I believe that patient probably did not have vital signs when they arrived and they were pronounced here, although I'm not sure of that. I think we had an outstanding response of our emergency medical services from public safety, fire, police, paramedics, the various paramedics services in town. We have medical directors in emergency medicine that responded from North Memorial, from HCMC, from Waconia, and from elsewhere around. So it's a well-organized system that we have drilled many times, and it seems to work very well.
Has there been anything to hamper your efforts at all?
No, not really. I mean, in any disaster situation, the 2 biggest problems we have are communication and transportation. Our transportation has worked very well. Communication is always a problem. As you know, trying to get information about this is very difficult. The people at the scene are too difficult to transmit repeated information. So the necessary information is transmitted, and the details will follow, and you'll probably be reporting more of the details than we have right now.
What sets apart the critical injuries from the non-critical? What is it about them?
A critically injured patient is a patient who has a life threat to one of their body systems, either breathing or their heart or blood pressure, or they're in shock, that type of thing.
What have you heard about these, though, that make them critical, do you know?
These patients are critical because of potential disruption to major organ systems, chest injuries, head injuries.
How are you dealing with communicating with families and getting the word out that you have?
We have a system in place for that, but that's not my charge. We have other people in charge of that, and they have organized.
And do you seen a lot of
correspond.
children come in that haven't necessarily...
The children have not. I'm not sure how many children. I saw one child here. I believe most of the children were sent elsewhere.
You do have some kids here, though, and I imagine parents are dealing with parents trying to locate their kids. Can you take me through the process?
We don't know. I don't know. I don't have information on parents, whether parents would separate from their children or not. I don't have that information. No, we've had an outstanding response, and we have all the people we need right now.
How many doctors, paramedics, and nurses would you say are involved in the whole operation, roughly?
Well, that's a guess. We have, that would be a guess, hundreds of paramedics from around the Twin Cities. We have 100 paramedics here. Our nurses have all been alerted, 100 of them in the emergency department, nurses from the critical care units. Our whole medical staff was notified. We have 25 emergency physicians, similar number of surgeons. We have internists and pediatricians and other specialties that have responded. The blood bank has responded. Our pathology director for the blood bank is here. We've had an outstanding broad response from the medical staff and the nursing staff.
How quickly was your team on scene once you got the first word?
How quickly was I on scene?
Or your response team for...
Well, we have, of course, we have emergency response team here all the time, and by the time the first patients got here, we had extra people, many extra people here. So it was an immediate response. I knew about this before it was reported on the TVs, which you knew pretty quickly.
Are you telling people who need the use of the hospital to go somewhere else?
We told the people who were in the waiting room that if they didn't need immediate care, they should leave and come back later.
Could you run the numbers for us one more time, Doctor?
The number I have is that we have 22 yellow, which means they have they have limb injury, but not immediately life-threatening. We had 6 critical patients, and 1 patient died.
And the death, the reason for the death, drowning?
We believe it was drowning. That's what I was told.
Thank you, sir.
It has slowed down now. Initially, at this hospital, we're taking only critical trauma. Once we were sure that we've taken care of the critical trauma, we're taking any patients who they want to send to us. Question: the hospital, our physician and nursing teams and administrative teams who came in scoured the hospital for available beds, moved patients out from critical care areas if they could be moved, and freed up several beds for patients. Enough that we had plenty of room for people at a place that's usually very, very busy.
All right, so there he is, Dr. Joseph Clinton with the Hennepin County Medical Center. An emergency unfolding in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Disaster, I think that's a fair word. A major bridge, a freeway bridge going over the Mississippi River about a little bit more than 2 hours ago, during the end of the rush hour in Minneapolis, simply collapsed. Cars and trucks plunged into the Mississippi River below. Rescue operations, search and rescue operations began. We assume they are continuing. Individuals who survived are being brought to local hospitals, as Dr. Clinton is just reporting. We also spoke with Nancy Ebert of the Abbott Northwest Hospital, where 4 patients have been brought in not such great condition, 2 children, 2 adults. We know that a school bus was involved in this collapse as well, and we're told that the children aboard that school bus were basically escorted off. We don't know what condition they're in, but there you see some pictures that were sent to CNN iReport by Mark LaCroix, who lives in an apartment building overlooking this major bridge in Minneapolis. Mark LaCroix is on the phone with us as well. But I want to go to Courtney Johnson, the American Red Cross in Minneapolis. Courtney, what can you tell us about what the Red Cross is doing and what you're seeing?
Well, the Red Cross, just to give you an idea of where we're located, we are within a stone's throw distance of this bridge. So right now I'm looking out one of the windows of our offices, and I can see the bridge and the collapse and the fire trucks and all that kind of thing. As far as what we're doing right now, I believe that the children from the school bus you were speaking of were brought to our building where we triaged them, treated the ones that we could that had minor injuries, and then had the others transported to the school. There were probably about 40 kids that we saw here, and right now there's still some in the building that we're working on getting them reunited with their families. As far as long-term and what we're going to be doing tonight and into tomorrow, the Red Cross has volunteers here. We're getting a bunch of spontaneous volunteers. People are just showing up to help us out. We are going to be feeding the rescue workers, and the folks who are down here. We also have a mental health stress team here who are mental health experts who will be here to help kind of debrief all the rescue workers and volunteers that have experienced this traumatic event.
And I just want to give our viewers a sense. There's the school bus that was involved. It was going over this bridge in Minneapolis as it was going down. Obviously, a lot of school children on that bus. There you see some of the pictures of what occurred earlier. We're told that those school children, and maybe Courtney Johnson, you can help us. Has the Red Cross dealt with some of those children who were on that specific school bus?
You know, I don't know what school bus they came from. I do know that we saw a whole bunch of kids that were from a school bus. So I don't know if there was more than one school bus in this instance, but we did see children from a school bus. The Red Cross here in the Twin Cities has an EMS team as part of the things that we do in the community. So our EMS chief was actually on the bridge, and he followed the children over here, was able to help treat them, as well as some of the nursing classes that we had in the building at the time and that kind of thing.
What a nightmare. Anybody who drives over a bridge is always a little bit worried, especially a major bridge, and people all over the country, indeed all over the world, who may be watching on CNN International right now. They certainly can relate to this, although it's shocking that in a major American city, a 40-year-old bridge, a steel bridge, simply collapses. A bridge that, according to the Minnesota Department of Transportation, carries about 200,000 cars a day. This is something extraordinary by anyone's imagination. Courtney Johnson, if you can stand by from the American Red Cross, I want to bring in an eyewitness who had crossed that bridge only moments before it collapsed, I'm told. Gregory Wernick, are you on the phone with us?
Yes, how you doing?
All right, good. Tell us where you were, what you saw when this bridge went down.
I was coming down 35W South, and I got off on Washington Avenue, which is a main thoroughfare right by the Metrodome, and I come across the bridge, and to go to the parking ramp, which is by the Holiday Inn, and I park in the ramp and go get a sandwich at the sandwich shop, and when I was coming off the bridge, when I was coming off the ramp, there was a University of Minnesota police car going the other way, so I probably missed it by maybe 2 minutes.
You probably missed being on the bridge. Were you walking across the bridge, or were you driving across the bridge?
I was driving.
You were driving across the bridge, and tell us what it was like. Do you remember what it was like only 2 minutes before the bridge collapsed, driving over this bridge? I assume you've done it many times.
Oh yeah, I have many times. I work for a trucking company in town, and I went to get the keys for the van. I was in Grand Haven, Michigan this morning. Just got into town, Minneapolis, took a shower, and got the keys to the company van, and came down to the Seven Corners to get something to eat. You know.
We're told, by the way, Gregory, that KARE, our affiliate in Minneapolis, is now reporting that at least 50 cars plunged into the Mississippi River as this bridge collapsed. Simply went down. And I assume the search and rescue operation is continuing right now. How many lanes are on this bridge?
Two lanes going each way, north and southbound.
So it's a four-lane bridge. And how many lanes were actually being used tonight?
There was construction. I think maybe like one lane going each way.
All right.
One lane on each side.
Yep.
Because of the construction, there was heavy traffic. I come off of Hennepin, and then I come down here to Seven Corners. It's about 2 miles, and it took me probably 10 minutes to get down here.
And as you were going over the bridge, only a couple moments before it actually collapsed, was the traffic moving normally over that bridge, or were you at a crawl?
It was going very slow because of construction.
Because of the construction. What kind of construction were they doing there?
They're just working on the bridge. I mean, I don't know, just regular bridge construction, I guess. They're working on top of the bridge. And at my viewpoint, when I was standing on the University of Minnesota medical building on the parking ramp, there's you can see a older Ford blue minivan. That person just cheated death too. I mean, they probably just came right off of there. And there was the news media was interviewing somebody else that she had just got across the bridge when it went down.
All right, Gregory, I want you to, if you could stay with us, because I want to come back to you and get some more of your eyewitness account of what you saw and heard. There's a reporter, Dave Peters, who's joining us now on the phone. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, tell us what you are seeing, what you saw. What do you know about because you've been doing some extensive reporting on this. It's been about 2.5 hours since this major bridge in Minneapolis simply collapsed.
Well, Wolf, right now I'm standing on the Stone Arch Bridge, which is a historic restored railroad bridge about a half a mile upriver from where the bridge collapsed. And I'm looking downriver past the set of locks here, and where once was a busy, big freeway bridge, there's absolutely nothing. You see ambulances and fire trucks crawling on a bridge that was that is on the other side, or was on the other side, still standing. And lots of hundreds, maybe thousands of people standing here on this bridge and in the neighborhood, ambulances, some lots of emergency vehicles, some with boats attached. It's right in the heart of old Minneapolis.
This river, the Mississippi River, at this point underneath this bridge, is this a very deep river right at that point? What can you tell us about the river?
Yeah, it's the Mississippi River. It's right below the St. Anthony Falls, less than a mile. It's a big river. It's not like New Orleans, but it's a big, broad river, biggest river in Minnesota. Lots of water here, and there are two set of locks that this bridge is right below on the Mississippi. Downtown Minneapolis is on one side of the river, the brand-new Guthrie and the Skyline, and on the other side is a residential area near the University of Minnesota.
Which is familiar to a lot of people who have been to the Twin Cities. Our affiliate there, KARE, is telling us at least 50 cars have plunged into the Mississippi River. Do you see search and rescue operations, Dave, underway right now?
From where I'm standing, I can't see search and rescue, but there are emergency vehicles crawling all over on both sides of the river.
What about in the river? Do you see boats in the river?
Yes, I can. Yes, there are boats, and there are a lot of boats being pulled by emergency vehicles as I was walking to the bridge.
And people are just gathering, and they're watching, I assume, in shock as this story continues to unfold.
Yes, there are hundreds of people on this bridge. I live about 2 blocks from here. My wife had walked under the freeway bridge about an hour before it collapsed, so she's thankful and a little bit traumatized, but it's a huge spectacle here.
Is there a pedestrian walkway across this bridge as well?
No, it's a freeway bridge. It's very busy. It's 55 miles an hour, heavily traveled. I think it may be the most heavily traveled bridge in Minnesota on the Mississippi.
All right, Dave, stand by for a moment if you don't mind. There's another eyewitness who's joining us here, and I just want to tell our viewers that I'm Wolf Blitzer. I'm sitting in for Larry King. We're continuing the breaking news coverage of a crisis that has developed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where a major bridge has simply collapsed. At least 50 cars, according to our affiliate, plunging into the Mississippi River. There are casualties. Unfortunately, people have died in this as well. Janet Stanley is joining us on the phone. Janet, you saw what happened about 2.5 hours or so ago?
Yes, sir, I did.
Tell us what you saw and heard.
And you just said my name incorrectly. It's Stately.
Stately, excuse me. I'm sorry, Janet.
That's okay. My daughter and I were coming back from Duluth, and the traffic was so bad that I made a decision to turn away from the 35W bridge because it was just sitting. Traffic was not moving, in my opinion, at all.
And this is the 35W bridge we're talking about.
That's on the 35W bridge, the one that collapsed.
Go ahead.
And about a quarter of a mile, I'm guessing, there's another bridge, and that speed limit is 30 miles an hour. The one on the 35W is 55, and it wasn't moving. And I wanted to get home, and I'm so confused still that I can't tell you the correct order of things, but I heard a horrible noise, and then I looked, and it seemed like a piece of the bridge was pancaking and going down, and I don't know the order, but then there was another section, and it sort of went down into a V, and all the cars were just going straight down towards the water like they were little tiny, toy cars. And then there was, I don't know if it was splashing or it appeared to be a cloud of dust. It was clearly dust. Some may have been smoke. I started screaming. My daughter grabbed her cell phone and mine and tried to call 911. We couldn't get through. I got to the end of the bridge that I was on, and she wanted me to turn and go down there and try help, but I knew we couldn't do that and, would be in the way. So we went what amounts to less than a mile to my house. She told my son what happened. They went running back there, and they were actually down underneath part of the bridge there, underneath the 10th Street Bridge, which is what we call the bridge that I was driving on. And they saw a lot of carnage and all kinds of horrible things down there, and they were just telling me about it when you called. And I'm watching the local news accounts flipping back and forth, and I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
I don't think anyone can believe that, because I've been covering these kinds of stories for a long time. I've never seen anything like this myself, and it's a nightmare for everyone who goes over a bridge, over any river in any city, not only in the United States or Canada, but around the world, that you're going over a bridge, you're driving, you think you're safe, and all of a sudden the bridge collapses. And in this particular case, cars, as you point out.
My daughter did.
Go ahead, Janet.
Did we really see that? I said, did we really see that? It was that unbelievable, and she was screaming and crying, and I don't even know what to tell you about this.
And as you saw the bridge, Janet, buckle. That's the word that's often been described in this particular. Just buckled and just went down. Is that what happened?
The section that was eye level to me, as I'm still trying to drive, was the section I saw the most clearly, I believe, or that I remember the most clearly, because all the cars were just like rolling down into that V, no matter which direction they were going. There's 4 lanes of traffic there going in opposite directions, right at the worst time of the day for traffic. And there, Minnesota, we have winter and road construction, and there was road construction going on that bridge, but I don't know what they were doing, but there was a couple of lanes you had to merge to get into, so I just opted to stay off that bridge. You
were very lucky indeed, and you got to thank your lucky stars for that. Janet, I want to just bring in for a moment. Janet, don't leave. Joe Costello is another eyewitness. We've been speaking with him. Joe, your eyewitness account seems to match pretty much what we just heard from Janet. Is that right?
Yeah, it does. Again, I saw it was not a very loud noise. I was about a quarter mile away to the west of it. Again, a puff of smoke, kind of a sand-colored smoke, shoots straight up in the air, about 100 to 200 feet in the air, very fast. The bridge collapsed south to north from what I estimate to be about 3 sections, with the north part, of course, going last without any smoke at all. And there was some smoke, not a lot, after it collapsed. It collapsed on a part of the river that there's a section of locks here because the Mississippi River descends in altitude. So they had built a series of locks to allow boats to go down. And so it crashed just east of the one lock. And so there is a fall, like a waterfalls there as well. So hopefully nobody got pushed downriver either in any of this.
And Joe, just to be precise for viewers who are just tuning in, this is a bridge, it's called the 35W bridge, is that right?
Correct.
And, and is this a state bridge? It's not an interstate, or is it an interstate?
It is an Interstate 35
it is
that runs from Minnesota all the way down through Texas.
So it is an interstate. It's an interstate bridge. So this, it's fair to say, is the major bridge in Minneapolis. Is that right?
It is. It's an artery that serves the northeast quadrant of the metropolitan area. So, I mean, 25% of the city uses this at a minimum on any given day.
And anywhere between 100,000. Anywhere between 100,000 and 200,000 vehicles a day cross this bridge.
More now. There probably might have been more. There's a Twins game starting about an hour after the bridge collapsed at the Metrodome, which is no more than a mile from the bridge, very close. So there was a baseball game beginning as well. So both the southbound, which may have been less traveled during rush hour, may have been heavier because of the baseball game.
And the Minnesota Twins game, we're told, is continuing. One reason being they don't want a lot of people, a lot of fans, to get in their cars and leave right now. This is not a good time to be driving in that vicinity. That stadium, how far away, Joe, is that stadium from the bridge?
My estimation, and right across the street from the stadium is Hennepin County Medical Center, should be noted as well. But the stadium is, my estimation is approximately no more than a mile.
A mile away, so a lot of the fans would be using, under normal circumstances, that bridge. Stand by, Joe. Jim McDonald is joining us as well. He's another eyewitness. Jim, tell us what you saw.
I'm in the high-rise building, Riverview Tower, that overlooks the river and the bridge right outside. And I just was doing a little work on a late afternoon. I had looked out, looking at traffic, wondering whether there was some weather coming in, and there had been some predictions. And all of a sudden, everything just started to go down. I saw a couple cars rear end one another, and then I saw the sections of the bridge that had started just to go down in different sections. And I thought my building started to shake. I thought we were in an earthquake. That I was a little worried about it myself, being in a high-rise, a little worried to get out of the building as I saw everything started to go down.
And how many chunks of this interstate bridge did you see collapse? And there we see that horrible break, the collapse of that bridge. How many parts of that bridge are there right now?
There are probably, it looks like there's about 7 to 8 different sections that had crumbled down and snapped apart from one another. The most recognizable one being on the north side of the river, that had snapped back and up, kind of almost like folding a piece of paper in half.
It's amazing that a bridge could simply go down like this, and structural engineers are going to be looking at this to try to determine what could cause this kind of collapse. And we know there has been construction atop the bridge. But correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, based on what you've known about this bridge, and you live right there, your apartment overlooks the bridge, the construction was atop the bridge, not underneath.
Correct. It was just a resurfacing of the bridge. During the winter times, you see a lot, with the winters up here, there's a lot of salt, and there's a lot of freezing of the bridge, so you see a lot of salt. So obviously in the summertime to get a little resurfacing done there. But I noticed most of the structure that you see, where you can see the underneath the bridge, is a green steel structure. I go underneath there quite a bit because of River Road. There's running paths and a river road down through there. You could just see the steel. You know, I'm just an observer, but it never really looked like it was too safe. But during all the construction, there was definitely no work being done on the structural. It was only the surface.
Only the surface, and only one lane each direction was being used. So you can't say that the bridge was dealing with an abundance of heavy lifting, if you will, a lot of cars, if only one lane was being used in each direction. Is that right, Jim?
Actually, there was at the time of the accident, or the time of the collapse, there were 2 lanes used in each direction.
There was. So the construction had stopped. Is that what you're saying?
For the evening, there was no construction going on at that time at 6 o'clock. No.
All right, and take a look at this. I want to point out to our viewers what they're seeing. These are the latest images that have come into CNN iReport from viewers out there, from individuals who are just sending us their pictures. And look at this. Look at how this collapsed bridge has unfolded. And here you see some more of this awesome devastation. This is a bridge, just to recap, that's about 500 feet long. It was built back in 1967. It's a 40-year-old bridge. It spans the Mississippi River at about 64 feet above the river. So this is a major interstate in Minneapolis. The Minnesota Department of Transportation saying it carries anywhere from 100,000 to 200,000 cars a day. So this is by no means just a modest little bridge. Nancy Fox is joining us. She's a reporter out there. You cover this area. Nancy, tell us what you're seeing right now.
Well, darkness is starting to fall, which will certainly perhaps hamper some of the rescue efforts. But what I'm seeing truly looks like it would have been part of an earthquake. The way the bridge collapsed, the way the metal support just twisted and bent, and the way the concrete almost accordioned on top of other sections of concrete.
And Nancy Fox is with KSTP. I want to tell our viewers as well, we're standing by for a news conference, which we will share with you. We will bring you here on this special edition of Larry King Live. We're watching this breaking story. Nancy Fox, does it look like there are a lot of search and rescue operations underway in the Mississippi River? Because we're told dozens of cars simply were hurled from this bridge as it collapsed.
You know, it does look like there are several boats in the river. It's difficult for me to determine if those are sheriff's deputies or if perhaps just some civilians with boats joined in that search and rescue effort.
And Nancy, stand by for a moment. Christy Rollwagon is joining us from the Emergency Preparedness Division over at the City of Minneapolis. Christy, give us the latest information that's coming into your operation.
Well, we're currently working on trying to get the cars out of the river at this point and assess how many more people that we are looking at for either treatment or transport, or looking at transitioning into a recovery effort.
How many cars have you actually counted already that were plunged into the Mississippi?
Don't have a count on that yet. We have a number of dive teams that are down in the river right now trying to account for how many are down there.
How many dive teams do you have down there?
Well, I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
How many dive teams are in the Mississippi right now searching for survivors?
We have about a half a dozen dive teams on scene.
And it's obviously getting dark right now, so it's going to make that operation so much more difficult and complex. Is that right?
Well, we do have weather coming in, and we have a baseball game that's about to be over here in the next hour. We have to reroute. So we have some underlying issues that we're dealing with at the same time.
You've got your hands full over there. What about the rescue operation on parts of the bridge that simply collapsed? Has everyone been removed? Has everyone been taken from atop the bridge?
Part of the bridge that was structurally safe for, at the moment, structurally safe for our rescue crews to be on, we have been able to confirm that everybody has been removed from those vehicles. But there's a part of the bridge that we can't get to yet, and so they're still working on trying to get some engineers on scene, as well as some heavy machinery, some boat-mounted cranes to get in here and help us lift sections of those.
And do you know, Christy, whether or not there are individuals on that part of the bridge that's structurally impossible to get to right now?
I don't know the fact.
But this is going to go on for some time. Is anyone giving you at all, Christy, any kind of explanation how a major interstate like this, an interstate bridge in Minneapolis, Minnesota, can simply collapse?
I haven't had any information about that.
It just
busy
buckled.
Focusing on rescue and recovery efforts right now. So.
All right. Well, good luck, Christy. Christy Rollwagon is with Emergency Preparedness in the city of Minneapolis, and God knows they certainly have their hands full right now dealing with this crisis. This is a horrendous situation that has unfolded, and people are going to be watching this as much as we possibly. People are going to be watching this very, very closely for lessons learned, to make sure this doesn't happen anyplace else. Nancy Fox is a reporter who's watching all of this from KSTP. Nancy, give our viewers a sense of the enormity of what we're seeing.
It's really hard for me to put into words. The section of bridge that collapsed was, I don't know, maybe about 500 feet long. And as I'm watching helicopter scenes right now, I'm still seeing some smoke billowing out. I don't know if that may be from previous car fires, because there were several vehicles that caught on fire. But then again, it's getting very near dark, and it's becoming more difficult to actually see the scene of the accident.
And that's going to make the emergency, the search and rescue operation obviously so much more difficult as it gets darker, not only atop the bridge, at least what remains of that concrete, that steel, the slab that simply collapsed, as one eyewitness told us, like an accordion going down over the Mississippi. But it's going to be very complex in terms of getting those people who are still alive to some sort of shelter or to a hospital. Dave Peters is there. He's another reporter watching all of this. What are you seeing right now, Dave?
It's starting to get a little bit darker, so it's going to get a little bit harder to see things. There is a helicopter hovering over the scene of the wreck. There's still lots of emergency vehicles on the bridge and on the nearby bridge, the 10th Street Bridge, and on both sides of the river. Still lots and lots of people looking, calling on their cell phones, taking pictures with their cell phones. It's a huge, huge disaster and spectacle here.
We were told, Dave, that by Christy Rollwagon of the Emergency Preparedness Division at the city of Minneapolis, that there's a chunk or more of that bridge that seems structurally unsound right now, and rescue operations can't go there because they don't want the rescue workers to collapse either. But from your vantage point, do you see any individuals atop the bridge where there may not be an opportunity to get to them yet?
I can see a pile of rubble, it looks like, right below the lower dock, the lower falls, and that might be what she's talking about. The police are clearing this bridge that I'm standing on, so they're trying to get people away from the scene a little bit more.
So are you seeing any helicopters or choppers hovering over what remains of 35W, this interstate bridge, trying to find individuals?
I've seen them hovering over. Right now, there's nothing over the scene right now that's looking down close. There have been earlier, but right now, no.
All right, I want to go to another eyewitness that's joining us now, Dan Berdahl. Dan, tell us where you were, what you saw when this bridge collapsed.
Well, actually, I was at home when the bridge actually fell, but I got a call from one of my roommates, and so I jumped on my bike and headed down there. So I was down there about 15 minutes after the bridge fell and got right underneath, right next to the bridge, and there was a bunch of fan boats from the fire department that were going up to the bridge and hauling people off, bringing them to shore.
And did you see a lot of people who were rescued?
Well, I was down there, they probably brought about 30 people off over to the section of shore that I was at.
And were they in good shape, in bad shape? How did these individuals look?
Most or all of them were definitely really shook up. Most of them just had a few little cuts on them. There was a couple people that were on stretchers that we had to haul up to ambulances. But most of the people that I saw, at least, were just really shook up. Did you see any people in the water or the waters of the Mississippi River? Nothing besides, there's a lot of people in boats, but nobody swimming in the water. This is, by the way, a picture that Dan sent to us, courtesy of CNN iReport. This picture, it shows the devastation. It shows this bridge simply had collapsed into the Mississippi River. Dan, where were you when you took this picture? There's another bridge that runs parallel to 35W, so I was underneath the base of that bridge about maybe 150 feet or so from where 35 fell down. And you just took your camera out, snapped it, and sent us a copy to CNN iReport. Is that right? Yep, that's right. And there it is. All right, Dan, thanks very much. Let's go back to Dave Peters, who's a reporter with Internet Broadcasting, who's helping us better understand what's going on. The bridge collapses, as one of the eyewitnesses told us, almost like an accordion going down. The whole thing seemed to have taken, what, only seconds? Is that right, Dave?
Apparently so. I mean, what's amazing about it now is there's a big bridge right next to it. The 10th Street Bridge is still standing, but this massive freeway interstate is just gone. It's a landmark here, and it's not there.
You know, there's an interstate a bridge like this in so many cities around the United States and similar bridges around the world, and people are obviously watching this and trying to draw some lessons to make sure that if they have a 40-year-old bridge in their community, that simply doesn't collapse seemingly out of the blue. Our affiliate KARE is watching all of this very, very closely. I want to briefly dip into their coverage and hear what they're saying.
And certainly Many of us have lived here for a very long time and haven't seen anything like this before. So it doesn't matter if you're a witness on the scene or you're an official working the scene. It's just, frankly, a shocking situation.
Well, we spoke with Greg Vandergrift earlier. For those of you who saw the interview, he spoke to several young men who were able to go down to the river's edge and assist with some of the people who had been injured in that. And if you hadn't caught some of that, we have a little bit of that interview queued up for you. Listen in.
Injured. Now I'm standing here with Will Farley. Will was over in the Dinkytown area just before this happened. Tell me how you became aware of this.
We were driving on the 4th Street University area, heading back from my girlfriend's apartment, and all of a sudden we saw a giant dust cloud just appear, and at that point we had no idea what was going on, and we just kept on driving over the bridge, at which point we saw the bridge was bent in half, and construction workers were just staring there with blank faces on their look, and nobody really knew what was going on, so we drove down to the river, and at which point we realized the magnitude of what just took place.
I mean, you sort of, everyone is stunned.
Nobody knew what was going on. Construction workers, there was no cops, there was no ambulances at that point. Everybody in Dinkytown was just utterly confused, for sure.
And your thoughts when you looked down?
Just, you know, it's cliche, it doesn't happen, but I mean, obviously there's construction going on. I mean, it makes a little bit more sense.
Do you have an estimate of how many cars? Did you try to count cars?
It's rush hour traffic on 35W. I mean, come on. There's got to be something, you know, there's got to be something bad going on down there. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Will Farley, he...
All right, that's our coverage that's happening right now on KARE, one of our affiliates. I want to also briefly dip into coverage on another station in Minneapolis, WCCO.
Oh, I was just at HCMC. They had 22 non-critical patients in there, 6 critical, and he said they were life-threatening injury, perhaps to a body or one of the organs in the body. And as you said, 1 death, drowning. 2 people were taken to North Memorial, and nobody that we know of is at Regions. And Dr. Clinton was saying that they have emergency response teams on both sides of that bridge, on the north side and the south side. And because they can't cross over, those on the north side are taking all of the victims to the hospitals on the north side, and the victims on the south side to the hospitals on the south side. So it's going to be a while before we can get an exact count.
Some of the bigger picture issues, folks, of what we're looking at, this bridge was built in 1967, and you heard Don talking to Dick Staley, one of our engineering experts, who gave us a number of different scenarios of what could happen. In that bigger picture, we're just receiving word that Senator Norm Coleman of Minnesota has spoken to the Secretary of Transportation. This is a federal highway. It's Interstate 35W. And the Transportation Secretary, we're told Senator Coleman that this bridge, the I-35W Mississippi River Crossing Bridge, was last inspected in 2004. So it's a 40-year-old bridge that had an inspection, according to the federal government, 3 years ago, if not longer, in 2004. But the bigger picture...
All right, that's coverage from coming in from WCCO in Minneapolis. Norm Coleman was here on our coverage just a little while ago, telling all of us that he and the other Senator, Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota, will both be traveling tomorrow with the Secretary of Transportation to Minneapolis to start obviously what is going to be a lengthy investigation to see how an interstate bridge of this magnitude can simply collapse, causing the death and destruction, the pain, the heartache in a major American city. No easy answers. Yes. Jeff Pearson is at the scene for us right now with one of the bus companies. Jeff, tell us what you're doing there and what you're seeing.
Well, I can't actually get to the site. I was trying to get to the Red Cross Triage Center to find out about the students that are on our bus that
on a school
actually
bus.
Took a tumble. Yes, they were.
All right, so tell us, has the school bus, is it okay? Are the students okay?
Yeah, it sounds like there are some bumps and bruises. I'm not sure if there are any broken bones. There may be something like that.
And there we see it. This is the bus that we're showing. It's jammed along the side of part of this collapsed bridge, 35W. Is that the bus that you're affiliated with?
Yes, it is.
How many children were inside?
Approximately 30.
30 children plus a driver. Any teachers?
Not that I'm aware, but there may have been some chaperones or sponsors.
And has everyone been accounted for?
Yes, according to the Red Cross, everybody that was supposed to be on the bus has been accounted for.
How did those people, they just walked off the bus and then just climbed their way to the bank of this Mississippi River? Is that what happened?
Well, I think there were some volunteers that came down and carried some kids off. I'm sure that there are some kids who are traumatized, but all in all, the bus looks pretty good. I guess if I were going to take a 75-foot fall into a river or onto concrete, I'd want to be in a school bus.
Well, it's an amazing situation, and thank God those school children are okay. Maybe some bumps and bruises. That's totally understandable, and obviously they're scared. But Jeff Pearson, thanks for updating us on that. And you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, that's where that school bus is. It's stuck there for understandable reasons. This is an amazing story that CNN is not going to leave. We're watching all of this very, very closely. It's approaching 3 hours now since